Hello all, welcome back. This is Christabel Diana from Trinity Software. In this video, let us see how to build a rock, paper, scissors game in Python. This is a simple GUI project for Python beginners. Let's start with the rules of the game. The user plays against the computer. Both the players deliver hand signals representing rock, paper or scissors. So rock wins against the scissors, scissors wins against paper and paper wins against rock. If both the players throw the same hand signal, it is considered as a tie. So in our game, there will be 5 rounds. The first one to score the highest points in the 5 rounds will be the winner of the game. Okay. These are the hand signals, images which I have used in our application. So let's start writing the code now. From tkinter, I am importing everything. Import star. Then in order to display the result, I will be using the message box. So again, from tkinter, import message box and I am renaming it as MB. We need one more module called random module. Tkinter is to build the GUI. This random module is to choose one among the given options. The computer can choose one among those 3 hand signals using the random module. Okay, then we need to create the root window. So root is equal to tk, root window is created. Then root dot title is fixed. You can give any title. I am giving rock, paper, scissors. And also this is optional, root dot geometry. I am changing the default size, change the width as 500 and the height also as 500. So now we are going to store these images in a variable. Okay, the code rock, paper, scissors.py, I am writing it in d::pycharm projects. In the same pycharm projects folder, I have this paper 1, paper 2, rock 1, rock 2 and scissors 1, scissors 2 images. So make use of those images to store it in a variable rock 1 for the player using widget called photo image. Use this photo image widget to display an image in another widget. So in our case, we'll be displaying this image in another widget label. Okay. So photo image, the syntax is py equal to mention the file path. Since it is present in the same folder, I'm just giving rock1.png. Okay. And since the image size is bigger, I want to reduce the size. To reduce the size, you can use subsample and the argument you can give by how much times it should be reduced. So I want it to be reduced to half size. So let me give 2. It means that the image will become 2 times smaller. Similarly for paper 1, using paper1.png, sci1 represents the scissors1.png. So these 3 will be used by the user and these 3 things will be used by the computer. Now we need to create 2 dictionaries so that computer can choose one among these hand signals. So computer value, it's a dictionary. Here we need to have 3 key value pairs. 0 represents rock, 1 represents paper and 2 represents scissors. Fine. And by making use of this random modules randint function, we can choose one among the 0, 1 and 2. Okay. And then we need to use these images also. So that can be stored in a separate dictionary called computer image. Here the key will be rock. The value will be the image variable, that is rock 2. Similarly, paper value will be paper 2. And the third key is scissors, value sci2. Okay. Then we need to initialize certain values. As I have already mentioned, we are going to have 5 rounds. So let me count the number of rounds. So I am initializing it to 0. Count is 0. Similarly, we need the score of player as well as the computer. So let's have 2 more variables which is initialized to 0. That is player score and computer score. All these 3 things are initialized to 0. Okay, fine. Now we need to design the layout. Let us see how our final output will look like. Okay, so this will be our final output. We have a title here and then we will have label which represents the player versus computer. This is to display the result of the current round. So we have 5 rounds. At a particular round, whoever is the winner will be displayed here. The player can make use of these 3 buttons. Either they can choose rock or paper or scissors to play the game and their score will be updated for each and every round. And we have reset game and exit game. So let's start the game. Press any one among these buttons. So paper, it becomes a type. This represents a player and this represents a computer. Next, rock. Here computer wins. So player is 0, computer score is 1. Let me choose scissors. Again, a computer only won the game. Again, rock. It become a tie. Once again, rock. Now the player wins. So player count is 1, but computer count is 2. So we got a message, you lose, try again. Okay, with this, the buttons are disabled. So once the fifth round is completed, you cannot continue the game. You have to restart the game by pressing reset game. So everything will be reset and you can start playing the game again. Okay, now we need to design these things. Fine. So let's design the title label first. Title label is equal to label created inside the root window. Text I have given rock, paper, scissors game. Font, background color and foreground color is given. Width I have made it as 500 so that it occupies the whole window. And I have used pack geometry manager here. That pack method packs all the widgets one after the another in the window. So you can use pad x and pad y as the parameters of this pack method. So pad x, the text represents the horizontal padding and y represents the vertical padding. Okay. Then the next thing is we need to create the player versus computer, that is the labels. Label 1 represents the player, label 2 represents versus, label 3 represents the computer. So these three things can be placed inside a frame. Okay, let me create a frame F1. F1 is equal to frame. The frame is placed inside the root window and I just pack that here using F1 dot pack method. So I have created the labels L1, L2 and L3 inside the frame F1. Text I have just initialized as player here. Font is 10 and second label versus and third label is computer. Okay. So later when we are playing the game, the label will contain image. Okay. We have used a pack method with side is equal to left for L1 and L2. For L3 dot pack, no parameters given. Okay, fine. Now we need to create this label L4. Create it in the root window itself. This is to display the result of the current round. So I am giving L4 is equal to label, which is placed inside the root window. Text I have initialized as an empty string. Font is given. Background color is white. Width 15. I have set the border with relief and packed with the pad y is equal to 20. Okay, fine. Then we need to create three buttons B1, B2, B3 representing rock, paper and scissors. Let me create another frame for that. F2 equal to frame root and F2 dot pack. Okay, inside this frame, create the three buttons B1, B2 and B3. Inside the frame F2, text is rock for button B1, for button B2 paper and here scissors. So the font is up to you. You can choose any font and border width I have set it as 5. Width of the button is 8 and command if rock button is pressed, what you are supposed to do. It shows error because those functions are not defined. So right now we can just define that. So def is underscore rock. Define the function and just use the pass keyword. Similarly for is underscore paper. Later we can write the function. Pass and is scissors. Pass. Okay, there's no error now. Fine. After this, I'm creating one more frame. Inside the frame, I have placed these three labels, score, player and computer. The third frame is F3 is equal to frame root. Here I have used some more parameters, that is background color I have set as blue. You can choose from the tkinter colors available. So width and height of the frame is here. Okay, then F3 dot pack method and I am going to call a method called pack underscore propagate, passing the value 0. Actually, to force the width and height of the frame widget. If pack underscore propagate is not given, this width and height will not be applied. Okay. Now we need to create those labels. Label score to denote the heading score. Foreground color and background color is given. And player score, the text contains just the player alone. Initially, score is not displayed. And for computer score also, initially the text contains computer alone. Okay. The last two are the reset game button and exit game button. These can be placed inside the root window itself. Reset button, command is equal to call a function called reset game. And for close, you can just give root.destroy. So we need to write the function reset game also. Def reset underscore game. And finally, to execute this tkinter, you have to give root dot main loop. Let's execute this file. Once again, the buttons are not placed. B1, B2, B3 should be packed here. B1.pack side is equal to left, pad x equal to 10. And similarly for B2 and B3. Now we can execute the file. Again in the frame f3.pack. Let me give some space. There is no space between the buttons and the frame. So we can add pad y is equal to 20. Okay, so now this gives a neat representation. None of these buttons is going to work now. We are going to write the code for these functions. Exit game alone will work now. So let's start writing the code for is underscore rock function. So once a button is pressed, I'm just going to increment the count by 1. Count plus equal to 1. It shows an error here. What is that? Unresolved reference, because we are using the variable inside the function. You have to make use of global keyword count. Fine. We are going to play this game for 5 rounds totally. So we'll use an if condition. If count is less than or equal to 5. If player has already chosen this rock hand signal, it is now the computer's turn. So computer's turn CV, making use of this dictionary computer value of, we are choosing any one among the key. So random dot randint function, we are passing the arguments 0, 2. So randint function, choose any one among 0, 1 and 2. So the corresponding value will be stored in the CV. So now we have 3 options for CV. CV can be either rock or paper or scissors. So just give that condition if CV equal to rock. Make sure you are giving the correct case, otherwise you may get error. So if CV is equal to rock, means that both the player and the computer has chosen the same hand signal. So result is going to be type, right? Elif. The next option is if CV is equal to paper, it means that computer has won the game. So result equal to computer win. And one more thing, we need to update the player score and computer score. So in this case, the computer has won the game. So computer score is incremented by 1 here, plus equal to 1. The computer score, it shows unresolved reference. It means we have to use keyword global for player score as well as the computer score. Okay. Else CV will be scissors, obviously. So result will be player win the game. So we need to update player score. Player score plus equal to 1. Now the result should be updated in the label L4 dot config. Text is equal to, just place the result here. Okay, after this in label L1, that is we have just given the text as player. Now I am going to convert that into image. L1 dot config image equal to, here we are using rock 1 because we had chosen rock. And then L2 contains versus, L3 will be the image of computer. So L3.config image equal to, this can be obtained from the dictionary computer image with the key CV. So the corresponding value of the particular key will be the corresponding image. For rock means it is rock 2. For paper means it is paper 2. For scissors means it is scissors 2. So which we have stored already in computer underscore image. Okay. Config. Fine. Now we need to update the player score as well as computer score. So the player score dot config. Text should be updated. So every time we need to display player colon, and then with this we have to concatenate the player score. It's actually an integer. So in order to concatenate, I am converting that into string of player score. Okay. Similarly, for computer score, COMP score is the label dot config. Text is equal to computer plus str of computer score. Okay, fine. At the 5th round, to disable the button as well as display the score, right? So if count is equal to 5 for the fifth round alone, we're going to disable the button. Call a function called button underscore disable. We are going to write the code for that function button disable, and then another function called display the score. Okay, so we need to write these two functions also. Button disable. We are going to disable the state of the buttons. So there are three buttons in our case, B1, B2 and B3. We are disabling all the three buttons, and we need to write one more function called display score. We'll write the function later. So is paper and is scissors. The code will be similar to is rock. So let me copy this. So is paper. These things remain the same. So l1.config alone image is equal to paper1, and if CV is equal to rock, if the user has chosen paper, it means the result will be player has won the game, right? Player win. So obviously this should be placed here. Player score is incremented by 1. Else if CV is equal to paper means it's a tie. So computer score should not be incremented here. The else part, so it will be scissors. So if it is scissor means computer has won the game, and I am incrementing the value of computer score by 1. All the other things remains the same. Similarly, we are going to paste the same code for is scissors. Okay, here in this case, image is equal to CI1. Okay, if CV is equal to rock, the user has chosen scissors and the computer value is rock. It means that the result will be the computer win. So computer win means computer score will be incremented by 1. Else if CV is equal to paper, scissors versus paper means player wins the game. So player score is incremented by 1. And the last else condition is if both are scissors, it means that it is a tie. Okay, fine. Now we need to write the code for displaying the result. So after the fifth round, if player score is greater than computer score, message box.show info, congrats, you have won the game. Or else if the player score is lesser means you have lost the game. Else if both are same means it is a tie. Again this player score and computer score should be made as global. Global player score, comma computer score. Okay, fine. The left out part is reset game. After playing the game, once you are resetting, everything should go back to the beginning stage. That is button B1 of state should be made as active. Similarly for button 2 and 3. Button 2 and button 3. And then label 1. The player image will be displayed. So we have to delete that image and we make the text as player. So l1.config text is equal to player and image equal to empty. Similarly for L3. So L2 will contain verses, there is no change in it. So L3.config text will be computer. So delete the image by giving image is equal to empty string. And L4 will be the result. So here text is equal to empty string. And finally we have to reinitialize count, player score and computer score as 0. So count is equal to player score is equal to computer score is equal to 0. And we need to use global keyword here. Count, player score and computer score. Okay, and then two more labels should be configured. That is player score dot config. Text should be made as player colon and computer score label dot config. Here text is equal to computer. Okay, that's it. Now let's execute and check our output. We can start with paper. So player win, player count is incremented by 1. So this is the first round. Second round it's a tie. Third round computer wins. Fourth round again computer wins. Fifth round also computer wins. So you got the message, you lose, try again. So note that the buttons are disabled. If you want, you can reset the game and you can play once again. So next time we have won the game. So that's it about building a rock paper scissors game using Python with the tkinter. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, kindly share and subscribe.